I want comments below if you think the answer should have been puppy.
I knew the puppy would get you.
We're here to talk about bread, lettuce, cheese, dead presidents, green.
It's just money, man. It's just money.
Welcome to It's Just Money. We are here to talk this week about unemployment rates and stimulus checks and trivia.
This week we're going to do a trivia game. So I found 6 questions. So you each will answer 3 questions, and the one with the highest points at the end wins. And if you're tied, I do have a tiebreaker. But first, we have to figure out who starts the game, who gets the first question.
I like competition.
How we're going to do that is rock, paper, scissors. But in a lot of It's Just Money, I've changed the name. So instead of rock, it's gold. Instead of paper, it's dollar. Instead of scissors, it's the Fed. So gold, dollar, Fed. That's it.
Gold,
dollar, Fed.
Gold, dollar, Fed. Shoot. Dang it, he got me.
Dollar feature gold.
All right, he can go first.
All
right, you ready for the first question, Raul?
No, but let's go.
All right. Question number 1. At what age does a person begin to be included in the unemployment rate? A, 21, B, 16, or C, 18?
I'm going with 16.
Well done. Well done. You got it was 16?
Yep.
You got 16. So Raul has 1 point. 1 point for Raul.
The only reason I know that is because I got laid off before 18 one time.
Do you know? Yeah. Included in the statistics. Jared, you ready for your first question?
Yeah.
What is the highest unemployment rate the U.S. has ever had? Was it 18%? Was it 45%? Or was it 25%?
25%?
That's your final answer?
I'm afraid it's wrong, but yeah.
Yeah, you're correct.
What? Yeah.
25%. And back during the Great Depression, that was the highest the U.S. had ever seen.
Yeah, there's like 45%. You want to say that because you hear the Great Depression and how terrible it was, but it's like that's just such a
crazy number. Yeah,
number. It's like can't be. But I was so afraid it was, and I was going to sound stupid since I'm going to be talking about unemployment later. Like, oh God, I don't even know.
That's my goal here.
Make you sound stupid.
All right, Raul, you ready for your second question?
Yes.
When does the CARES Act extra $600 a week for unemployment expire? July 31st, 2020? Is it September 1st, 2020? Is it January 1st, 2021?
I'm going to go with the last one.
January 1st, 2020?
January 1st, yep.
Sorry, Raul, that is not the right answer. Though many people probably wish it was.
Right. What is the answer?
July 31st, 2020.
That's what
really?
Yeah, so it's from the time the bill was signed to July 31st is when you get the extra $600. So, Jared, it's the time to take the lead.
You have a chance
here. So, you ready for your second question?
Yeah.
When the minimum wage began in the U.S. in 1938, what happened to the unemployment rate? Increase or decrease?
Increase, I'm sure.
Yep, it increased. It went from 14% in 1937 to 19% in 1938. Raul, so Jared has 2. You have 1, but you can catch up with this one. You ready?
He's rubbing it in your face.
All right.
I'm getting smug already.
Raul, are actors eligible for unemployment in between shows that they're in? Yes, no, or sort of?
I feel like one answer has to be right. Just like sort of means you can't be wrong.
Right, I know, right? Can I phone a friend?
No.
And then I end up phoning Jared?
Sort of.
You know what? Let's just say no.
Okay. Sorry, the answer actually is yes.
Oh,
they are. They do eligible, but there's income limits related to unemployment. So, like, Robert De Niro isn't going to get unemployment or something.
That makes sense.
So what I'm hearing is Raul just missed his second question. I'm already at 2, so I've already
Okay.
won.
You've already.
Hey, watch me not work like I'm on unemployment and still win.
You know what, Raul? Here's your chance.
Ooh.
If Jared gets this wrong, I'll do the tiebreaker and you have a chance to golden goal win it. All
Okay.
right. All right, Jared. A psychological study found that when men who were unemployed coped better with unemployment if they A, had a hobby, B, had more support from family and friends, or C, had a puppy.
Had a puppy.
No, it was more support from family and friends.
That was
As much
a
as-
trick. I was gonna say support and family, and then you threw a puppy in there.
I knew the puppy would get you. Everyone loves puppies.
I don't, but whatever.
All right.
To be fair, I've not seen any studies about the effect of puppy ownership on ability to cope with unemployment. So
I want comments below if you think the answer should have been puppy, but there's not enough studies to prove it. Comment below.
So here's the last question. So you
All
both get to answer, and the closest one to the right year wins. What year was the federal unemployment insurance started? I'll let Jared have the first guess.
Oh, so I get to set the anchor. If I had to guess, I would say 1954.
Raul, what year do you guess?
56.
56. Ooh, clever play. But
19
Jared's
or
fan,
something.
because it's 1935. So
Oh, wow.
You said 54, you'd have won.
I feel like I just won twice.
You know what?
Here's
Whatever.
one. Jared, 1 on the scoreboard for Jared. All right, so now we will transition to talking about news.
So, first off, before we get going, I saw a pretty interesting article. Walmart was talking about increased sales volume, trying to talk up increased sales and stuff. And so they just basically showed lots of shirts being sold. And so it was high. So it was basically an article realizing that everybody who's doing Zoom calls for work now should do pants checks. So I haven't seen you guys stand up yet. So apparently everybody's buying shirts because they don't need pants. And so they're doing Zoom calls. I'll give you guys a trivia question. So apparently nobody can get out. So like celebrities have been posting selfies, and they're not even like good photos. It's amazing how many people like these of them and gray hair. My
Wait,
question.
really?
Yeah, it was like a thing.
What are you clicking on, Jared?
I know. I don't know. This is BuzzFeed. I'm going to give you a list of a few actors or actresses, and you tell me which one had the most likes for a poor selfie. So, P. Diddy,
Gray hair P. Diddy?
Kevin Hart, Sarah Silverman, or Will Smith.
I'll go with the Fresh Prince, man. Go with
It's got to be him.
You had your chance. No, he was number 2, and he lost to Kevin Hart. Let's talk unemployment. You had a lot of questions in there about unemployment. I'm really struggling with our system right now. This is kind of a pretty big topic because we got the PPP loans, the CARES Act. That's under that where businesses can apply. That's already out of money. If you didn't hear about that, 13 days. What was it? 350 billion, or is it 250?
Yeah.
350. 350 billion. And more importantly, is like I reached out to like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 banks. Almost every person I know didn't get it. So I'm over here like,
Wow.
Oh my gosh, like banks wouldn't even take our applications. They were so fast.
Wow.
We're servicing their own clients already, who they already had loans with. What I realized was because I didn't have a loan with a bank, I don't think the banks want to lend me money because they're trying to protect their other investments. It's kind of ridiculous. If you borrowed money from your bank, they're saying, well, we're honoring our current customers. Well, I have money in these banks. So I would call them back, but my money is in your bank. But because I don't have a loan, they weren't servicing me. What it made me realize was the banks, I think, basically are using this money to protect themselves.
So yeah, I've heard that banks were really focusing on their current clients, but I did not realize that
Current clients means already
those,
borrowing clients.
loans.
Yeah.
The article that I want to talk about today, which it was just kind of like, whoa, article about unemployment is that I have this article that talked about how 1/3 of Hawaii's labor force files for unemployment. It's like 1/3 of the state's people who work file for unemployment so far.
It's a tourism state.
Right. It makes sense. It's a tourism-based economy. And so, like, people work at hotels or restaurants that's like that service part of the sector is just disproportionately big compared to other states.
Yeah.
And so it's like, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that, how that would be affecting
For
Hawaii.
context, 1 in 7 Americans workers are on unemployment right now. So that's 3 times, or either way, whatever that math would be. 1 in 7 workers are currently, and that's a ton.
Mm-hmm.
So unemployment. I actually have a question on unemployment for you guys. I read a lot about unemployment. They're doing the bonus $600 for unemployment. This is it's very confusing on which states get it and which don't. Some of them are just behind. They're finally starting to dole out some of that money, and you brought up the extra $600. A lot of people think they're going to get that for 4 months, but it actually, like you said, it'd be really good for, technically our listeners to understand, like, that goes away actually at the end of July. But it's problematic because now all of a sudden we go from a shutdown market, and they're like, all right, well, let's scale back up the market and open up things and people can go back to work. But nobody wants to come back to work. So if I offer somebody a job who's on unemployment, like, to bring them back, so you get that PPP loan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to make it forgivable, you have to use it to pay your employees. So you say, hey, employees, they want you to bring them back. So let's say I have a business with supplies, but seeing as I couldn't borrow money anyways, it doesn't apply to me. If I said, hey, Matt, come back to work for me, you'd be pissed. Because some of these people, if you made $10, $15 an hour and you worked inside the service industry, you're making more money on unemployment. And in theory, you no longer qualify for unemployment because I just offered you your job back.
Yeah.
On top of that, your job may not be actually that secure because nobody knows what's going to happen. So then you have 4 months you could have been on unemployment with the bonus, which I'll have some tips for later. And you now lose it, go back to work, and then maybe land back on unemployment 6 months later when the business just can't survive.
Right. And on top of that, you're going to have such a high demand for people looking at jobs, that it's going to be so competitive.
Yeah. So let's put the context. So here's my question for you guys. So to just trying to get the big picture around unemployment and what it means and the context. So Matt, you already kind of set some numbers for us, 25% being the max. What is the most amount of people to have ever applied for unemployment in a single week previous to the last 4 weeks?
4 million.
I was thinking more like 1.5 million or something.
Okay. So to put it into context, just how unprecedented what we're living through right now is, because you're being skewed right now because you've seen the recent numbers. So you're like, well, surely the Great Depression was worse. Surely 2008 was worse. But previously it was like 680 some thousand in a week.
Thousand? What?
This is the max. So think about the math here. In 4 weeks, we've had over 20 million people apply for unemployment.
Wow.
In any given time in history, if you took the highest number that ever applied for unemployment in a single week and you times it by 4, which of course they didn't have 4 weeks in a row of the highest number, you still don't get over 2.7 million, or you get right around there.
Wow.
Under 2.8 million. So we have had over 20 million people apply for unemployment in 4 weeks, and we're still going. Like, we are not stopping. So they're talking about hitting at least 25%. Is like, that's actually a legitimate number that we might hit now.
But didn't we think 20% was outrageous?
Well, no. Well, so a lot of people were like, we might hit 20% unemployment. Now it's like, it's very well, we might hit 20% plus points. So the question is, if the economy bounces back, how fast do people go back to work?
Right.
But nobody wants to go back to work. But I think we talked in our last one where I talked about kind of givers and takers. Don't take if you don't need to take. But at the same time, as I've been researching more into the PPP loan and then the giving and taking, idea of unemployment if you don't need it. It's like, well, this is just irrational. We're just creating a system that is ripe for problems. But the longer people are on unemployment, you're going to be coming back to a job market thinking you can just get right back into your job, but you're going to be competing with 22 million Americans right now.
Right. And not only that, I don't think the term bouncing back makes sense anymore. It's just going to be a slow rollout. So there's no bounce. It's just so the competition for the few jobs that are going to be available is going to be nuts.
And I think what you just said at Raul really matters. A lot of people have seen the market go way back up and like, oh no, we're going to bounce back. It's like, no, people. We're not bouncing back. We are correcting an overreaction that we only know is an overreaction potentially because of hindsight. Like, okay, well, it looked like it was going to be way worse. Mitigation worked a lot better than anybody dreamed of. So maybe we should have gone so low. And so then it quickly jumps back up. However, a lot of people ask me, should I be getting in the market? Should I be making investments? And I guess I'll give an early tip. Nobody knows. The professionals of professionals don't know. There's so much confusion right now. So much new policy has been rolled out that nobody knows effects. The money getting dealt out is huge. We've never seen anything like that. And so nobody has any ideas. So right now people are just kind of happy where it's at and they're hedging their bets. Well, I look at the unemployment numbers and I just think, how long is it going to take for these people to get back to work and for businesses to scale back up? They're talking phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4 now, and trying things. And if we have a bounce back of COVID, tampering back down and trying to treat each state differently at this point, like that's the new conversation.
Yeah, you know what? Just from my point of view, what I've been seeing is like the advertising business. That's the first thing you cut when you're a private owned business or whatever. Like you're going to cut your third party advertising. You'd rather have in house to save money. So those people are going to have a hard time like getting back into work, even if they, tried.
Yep. The lower middle class is going to get hit for sure. The upper class, of course, they're kind of getting hit to some extent in this sense, but they'll have plenty of opportunity to make more money back. Middle class still have some. This is going to be really hard on them, but this will disproportionately hurt those who live in poverty. That's where I've kind of started to challenge people. Like, if you don't need to be on unemployment, if you can get back to work, I get it. It sucks. You're going to give up money that you feel entitled to because you did lose your job, but you're not entitled to it. And there's going to be really important that people try to help those who live in poverty not be disproportionately crushed.
And those same people too, those are the ones that are probably continuously working. And so they have a higher risk of exposure to the virus and have probably been the most exposed.
Yep. That's definitely a current issue.
All right, let's get some tips on what to do with your extra unemployment money or your stimulus check. So for tip number 1, hit it, Jared.
All right. So my tips are actually, I have a little saying, bank it and budget it. What we got to do is take this extra money you're getting, the stimulus check and unemployment, if you are getting that, and get it in the bank. Don't just go spend it. And then really sit down and figure out where that money can be budgeted, because your budget is totally off. Like, I'm not going out to eat. I'm doing more grocery shopping. So I shouldn't just take this extra money and like sign up for stuff or buy a new computer, because I might really regret that 6 months from now, because we have a lot we don't know and everything's still. And so wait for the dust to settle, basically, and then figure out where you're going to spend your money.
That was good. All right, Raul. With tip number 2.
Tip number 2, I think if you are not necessarily hurting for money, but you are, if you've got some debt, now would be a great time to pay that off, especially with the interest rates. Student loan interest rates have been paused. So that plus credit card debt, I think that would be great to just, knock it out.
That's a good point, Raul, because we have, as we've previously have talked, student loans and credit card debt, revolving credit card debt was like, I don't know, like 400 billion. Half of it is staying on every month. Credit card debt would be great stuff for people to I'm almost changing my advice now. I said bank it, budget it. Well, if you pay off the credit card debt, you still have that line of credit, so you can always go back to it if you need. But in the meantime, you could be saving that interest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a really good one. All right, for tip number 3, this is especially for those who are still able to work from home, but you're still getting a stimulus check, is think about taking some of it and giving it to friends and family or charity that of people you know who are either already out of work or in a job that they're going to need some extra help. So it's a great time to be thinking about others who may be struggling more than you. So yeah, take that money and give it to those in need around you.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting. If everybody took our advice, it would actually not be good for the economy. Because
Right.
the economy
Right.
wants people to spend all their money all the time.
Right.
And I just want to add on to Matt's, like, I think that's a pretty important thing because we're so isolated right now. It's hard to necessarily think of other people. And I think it's something we might have to exercise, but would be good for us in the long run.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's good. We'll see you guys next time on It's Just Money.
Winner, winner, winner.
Okay.
I
whatever.
win. Thank you for listening or watching It's Just Money. We hope you enjoyed the episode. If so, please subscribe so you don't miss out.
Also, leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. If you have any suggestions for future episodes, please comment below.
But remember, it's just money.